I wouldn't say exactly I believe in transhumanism, but I am definitely curious about its development. With the very question like how technology can improve, augment, and even transform the human body, the human mind, and therefore the humankind. So first of all, there is a very blurry boundary between human treatment and human enhancement. We have entered a field where medical and technological achievements can both serve the persons in need, but also increase capacities of others. Just to give you an example, we have found remedies for blind people to recover eyesight, which is amazing. But the same research also enables to beam images from one person's mind into another. See, that's vertiginous. Second, the field of what is acceptable also evolves over time. Some medical advancements, which were taboos yesterday, they become mainstream. Just once again, to give you a few illustrations: transfusion, vaccination, antibiotics, birth control, IVF, gender reassignment surgery. So all this evolve over time. So what about human cloning, or downloading our mind in digital formats, or controlling an exoskeleton or a second body from our mind? So the transhumanist effort asks questions about our sense of identity and our consciousness and the potentiality of an eternal life as well. So yeah, it really feels vertiginous to me, but these questions are definitely worth asking, so I believe. And finally, we need to create an ethical framework to handle these topics. There's been active debating around what is progress and what represents a danger for humankind. I have a book I love, which is called More Than Human by Ramez Naam, and it illustrates how gene therapy, so this is a technique based on gene alteration and reinsertion via virus. So gene therapy was risky at first, but it saved the life of a 4-year-old girl, and since then it has really developed. It was the first test by the time, but today gene therapy is popular, and it helps combat and even cure diseases. And for example, gene therapy is used to treat anemia or in HIV therapy. But gene therapy is also known to boost human athletic performance. So it can once again be used in different contexts, and that's what we want to care for. So to handle these topics, you were asking how I do monitor the future of the mind. And so I think to handle these topics, we need to look over large time spans to understand past evolutions, identify long-term trends, and finally make informed decisions. But unfortunately, we often think in the short term, and we find it hard to project ourselves like years from now. This is actually a characteristic of our brain. Like, we tend to have a threshold, like around 5 years, where it's very difficult for us to think beyond, because our future self kind of becomes estranged to us. It's all in our brain, like it's how we are wired. And we are unable to empathize with this stranger we will become in 5 years. However, professional futurists, they are trained for stretching that horizon through foresight. They scan for signals for the future. They create scenarios, sometimes fiction or artifacts from the future. And all this is designed to instigate a concrete feeling of the future, of what the future could be like. So this type of strategic foresight helps people and organizations, companies, governments, decision makers, or even individuals to think about possible futures and prepare for them. So that's an important part of it. So in terms of how I do monitor the future of the mind, well, I apply this methodology of professional futurist, which consists in activating my radar, listen to events happening today in a restrained environment, and to imagine if they were amplified in the future and if they became more common. What would happen if they extend to a more general audience? And I am also very fond of the book of Michio Kaku, which is really a reference to me, which is called The Future of the Mind. And I also love Yuval Noah Harari book, Sapiens. And I think they are both great sources of insights on our past evolution as humans. For example, Michio Kaku replaces Homo sapiens in the realm of conscious being, from plants with no brain structure and simple environment feedback loops, to reptiles who have a brain stem and additional like space parameter, then mammals, they have a limbic system and they have more social parameters, and finally humans with their prefrontal cortex and a more complex representation of the world, which includes time, a sense of history and of the future. So when I read them, I just cannot help thinking about the future of our species, and which I think is a fascinating question, right?